Hey everybody, wanted to do a little bit of a different video this time. I was recently on a podcast with CH from Homebrew for Life. If you haven't checked out their channel, be sure to go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. But the podcast on there is the Brajcast. I was on there with CH. We talked about how I got started in the channel, you know, just how I approach things in general with the channel as far as, you know, how I do reviews, all that kind of stuff. But the origin story of the channel was one of the things we talked about. And that's really interesting because it involves Craigslist and some strangers from Craigslist coming over to my house and all that stuff. So you'll have to go listen to the video, listen to the podcast. And one of the things I realized after I did that, I told him that the video was on the channel, but it's actually not on the channel. So I thought it'd be fun for me to watch my original first video that I ever put on YouTube with you guys and kind of make some commentary and let you know a little bit of behind the scenes stuff along the way as we go through the video. So one quick thing, I do want to shout out to all my Patreons. Appreciate their support. Absolutely awesome that you guys are supporting me, and I just wanted to say thank you. So let's jump into it.
All right, so here we are on the maiden voyage.
Now it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's really early, and I'm trying to be quiet so that I don't wake up anybody.
Filling up my hot liquor tank. Actually, my mash water, or sparge water, if you will. I've got 9 gallons of mash water from the Blickman Boilermaker already.
Oh my gosh, I'm so shaky on the so shaky on the camera there.
With.
This was actually a Motorola Razr
boil kettle,
Android Motorola phone that I was recording this video on, so it's kind of crazy.
Ready to go down to 2 pumps on the bottom shelf.
And for those of you that don't know, the system here is in the old place that I lived in, and I built that whole thing out as well, same like I did this one.
I get my hot liquor tank full and get everything fired up, all the hoses connected, and start recirculating to heat the strike water.
Same old mash tun that I've had.
Got all of our hoses hooked up. Got our hose coming from the...
I gotta pause this for a second. I probably spent about 10 minutes hooking and unhooking the hoses, hooking and unhooking the hoses, so that whenever I got to this point in the video, I could articulate everything, where everything went and where everything was going. This is the maiden voyage of my Herm system that I still have the mash tun and everything, but let's keep going here.
Mash tun down to the wort pump, back up from there to the top of the Herms coil, my heat exchanger, back out from there, back up into my mash tun. Got the hot liquor tank outlet coming from the bottom out, back up to the recirculation port inside. So we are ready to crank it on and start.
Good old system.
Water flowing. So,
still using this panel that I built back then.
Wort pump first. Take a look inside. See what we got. And that water flowing. And we'll crank on our water pump for our hot liquor tank.
My God, those pumps were so noisy. I am so happy that I've got the Blickman Riptides now. I'll tell you, it's something else.
Serve some heat energy. And got our hot liquor temp showing 51 degrees.
I can't remember what time of year it was. It was pretty cold. The groundwater temperature being 51, it was pretty cold.
It was 168 degrees. I'll just adjust that down. And we're rolling. So, be back in a little bit to mash in.
Didn't have a whole lot of idea what the heck I was doing at this point in time. I just knew I built a Herm system, and it's a mill, and my dad actually gave me the motor for that thing. Little known fact on that, it was 24 volts. I had 2 lawnmower batteries that I used to run it. It was not plugged into the wall or anything like that, so it was, and I also had to like bump it in order to get it to start. So it was kind of funny that how that whole mill came about and everything. Worked well. I've used it since then.
Mashed in and recirculating. And bring the temperature up to 148.
I don't do the same process that I did back then anymore. I do it a little bit differently, and I'm going to be putting out a video on that at some point, showing how I do my heating of the strike water and all that stuff.
Looking pretty good.
Mashing in.
See you in. While I'm mashing, I figured I'd go ahead and give a rundown of the system. Kind of a.
These kettles are so cheap.
Electric brewery.
They were so thin. I mean, you could take the outlet valve and the spigot and everything, and you could just basically flex it like crazy.
My wife gave me the thumbs up.
Talking about Kelly giving me the thumbs up to build the brewery down in the basement there.
Boil kettle, 5,500 watt element.
Pretty much followed Cal's design to the letter with the boxes on the side and everything.
That's exactly like what Cal has. Auber Instruments, 2-inch RTD probe.
I was proud of this system. I'll tell you what. It took a while to make it, for sure.
Quick disconnect. 5/8
Lots of stuff from Brew Hardware.
From Bobby in New Jersey. They're awesome.
There it is.
Mash tun is Blickman 20-gallon Boilermaker.
And I still have it.
False bottom.
Still have it.
Ported in at the top for recirculation on the Herm system.
God, I'm shaking the camera so bad.
Workhorses of the brewery.
And my God, those pumps are loud.
Didn't buy them both at the same time.
I forgot how loud they are.
Liked it a lot. Then found a chucker pump that was insanely cheap on Amazon, so I went ahead and bought that. And I like them both. I think the chucker is maybe just a little bit better. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. Then the hot liquor tank. Back on the mash tun.
I don't like those probes where they are. I don't have them that way now. I just didn't like how much of a length it added to the kettle, but I thought that was the right thing at the time. I've since learned that you don't necessarily have to do that.
Hot liquor tank. Got the 50-foot stainless steel coil from Stainless Brewing. Zach does an awesome job out there.
It took forever to get that thing sealed. I had to build a support in the back of the kettle in order to get the thing to stop from leaking. It was a frickin' nightmare. The Blickman Herm's coil is much better.
Pretty cheap. Good way to get started in electric without spending a lot of money. The walls are a little bit thin, but not too bad.
A little bit? Very thin.
Auber Instruments as well. All my PIDs are from Auber.
The SYL 2352.
As you can see, I
think they're 42.
Heat sink on top.
They don't even make the box punched anymore.
These inside. Went to the trouble of installing a TV mount so I can swing my panel around to the.
I don't even know what that was I knocked over, but I tried to act like nothing happened.
So the mash is done.
Too funny.
To the temperature. Getting up there.
Doing the mash out.
A little bit for the mash out. All right, so we are up to our mash temperature. We're going to swap the hose.
So I just wanted to let you know about this part right here. We actually went to breakfast. My dad showed up and I was in the middle of mashing. We went to breakfast and let it mash for about probably like 2 hours, and then came back and did the mash out on it after we had breakfast and all that stuff. So my dad's on the camera now, and I'm going to do some explaining about all the hoses and everything. And I had to rehearse this about 3 or 4 times as well. So here we go.
Around. So what we want to do is we want to have the wort come out of the bottom of the mash tun through the pump up into the kettle. So we're going to take this hose and move it over to the kettle. And then we will take the recirculation hose. We're going to run the hot liquor tank water through the coil to clean it, so we don't have to worry about cleaning it later. So we'll take the outlet from the pump for the water, move it over to the top of the coil,
It will then recirculate the hot water from the hot liquor tank through the recirculation port in the mash tun, and we'll begin our mash. Okay, so on our sparging, we want to have the water about 2 inches above the grain bed, so we're going to fill our water up so that we've got a couple inches over top of the grain bed, and then we'll begin our sparge out into the boil kettle.
I'm talking with so much authority.
It's a pretty slow rate. You can kind of look in here and see that the wort
I don't remember what I was brewing
in the boil kettle very slowly. I'm going to extract fairly slow so we don't channel the grain bed. And it looks like everything's going pretty good.
It was always a battle to try to get the flow exactly right and keep the level where it's supposed to be at. You constantly fiddle with that stuff. I do like the new auto sparge. It worked really well the last time I brewed. And had a little binder clip on the sight glass there.
Tip from Powell there. Put a clip on your sight glass so you can see whether or not your level is raising or lowering as you sparge. Yep. All right. So we got, if you come over, we got the element covered. So we're going to go ahead and start our heating to boil. I put my first wort hop addition in. So we'll go over and crank the boil element on.
I did love my first wort hop additions.
You set it to manual, and we'll set it to...
On the table there is all my brewing salts that I added for the brew day.
So I got about 100%, and now the element will fire 100% of the time until I tell
And I had a lot more hair then too. And less weight.
And we are boiling.
The magical boil.
Yeah, we're just now at the top of the bed.
Coming up. Staying in the hood for the most part. Not seeing too much going out of there.
My old hood.
Got the element.
God, it was noisy too. This one's with the motor outside of the garage. In the garage, it's not as noisy now.
It was boiling too much and about to boil over, even at what was it, like 7 or 8 gallons?
Oh, there's been some boilovers in that system.
5 more gallons to go before we reach our volume, but at least the main part of the boil protein is gone now.
For
so
sure.
We shouldn't have any issues. All right, so our boil is over, and I have begun the Whirlpool. Keith, this is for you.
Had the cheapest Whirlpool ever.
Out of the
Just
boil
an elbow
kettle,
on the end of the hose.
down to the pump, back up into my hose, and the hose has
Getting dizzy from all the camera work.
quick disconnect with a 90-degree fitting on it. I just dumped 2 ounces of hops in, and this is my Whirlpool, and it's moving pretty good, as you can see.
Gonna be a hoppy one.
I have not added a circulation port on the bottom of the kettle. I may do that at some point, but
I did wind up doing
for
it
the time being.
like
So
a
I'll
couple
let
years
this
later.
Whirlpool for 30 minutes. Pick up plenty of hop aroma and bitterness from the Whirlpool edition, believe it or not. Most people don't think you get any bitterness from that, but
Oh, they do now.
definitely will. Alrighty. See you when the cooling comes. So I said I was going to come back at cool down, but I thought I just wanted to show this. So I'm still whirlpooling. It's been about 18 minutes, and I wanted to just show a temperature drop. We've only dropped from 212 degrees, which is boiling, down to 190 in 18 minutes. So we're still well within
Yeah, now I know
the
that
sanitary range.
that's boiling off
Everything's
most of
still
the
sanitized.
volatile
No
oils
problems
that
for infection
are in the
or anything like
hops.
that. We'll hook
So
up
it kind
the
of was counterproductive a little bit,
shortly
but
and be chilling down to pitching temperature. Going on. Tap water from the faucet going through, cooling it down from
I still got that chiller.
70 degrees down to about 65, 67 degrees for pitching.
Going into the buckets.
Seems to be working pretty good. All in all, the day was a success with the brewery. Thanks to my dad for helping out.
Didn't blow anything up. Didn't lose the brews.
I'm not sure what we were going to blow up, but
All right, so it looks like a success. And, we'll see you on the next brew. All right, and so that was kind of that was my first video that I ever put out on the internet, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would challenge you that if you have a early video that that you did that might be a little cringeworthy or whatever, let's kind of get this going a little bit in the homebrew arena. Let's see some more. I'm challenged, if you're a YouTuber and you're watching this, do a video on your first video and let's talk about it, and leave a comment down below what you thought about the first video on the channel. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with everybody. And this has been Brian for Short Circuit Brewers. We'll see you on the next video.